Right now, everything is being digitized, but smell is one of the most difficult senses to quantify and to make sure that machines understand that data. So there are immense applications for this, but you need some serious algorithms and engineering talent. And surprise, surprise, of course, Lithuania is one of those places leading in this area. And I had the pleasure to sit down with Adomas, who shared what he's doing with his team. So tell us a little bit about what your startup does.
So Volatile AI is there to take lab analysis for chemical detection and smell detection out of the lab into the field. We're doing this for instrumentation and artificial intelligence. And the artificial intelligence layer is really what allows us to do what before could only be done in a very controlled environment with these super high-tech machines. We're actually now taking this out of the lab into the field. And our vision really is to reach a point when all of us have a device which can tell us the chemical composition of things. Be it contamination of the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe. All these actually have little microplastics, you might think, and other little contaminants which we just cannot see, we cannot detect them now. That capability is actually out there in kind of lab environment, but not available to all of us.
This kind of technology, it's obviously deep tech related. You mentioned AI, everything really sophisticated. I'm sure that there's loads of other companies and players in this field around the world, surely.
In fact, there's only a few companies doing this in the world. You can count them on kind of two hands of probably. There's a few in the Silicon Valley, one in France, one in Canada. It's a challenging field, which takes a lot of effort and R&D to really get into, and there's also numerous avenues you can tackle this from. So our approach here is to build it through artificial intelligence. The best data set, the best algorithm gets us there, and that's what we're doing.
So I imagine all of this is going to be very tech heavy. It's going to require a lot of good talent. So, I mean, are your talent pool, is that located around the world, or where is your team?
Well, our team is here, mainly Lithuania. Having said that, we've been on a journey. We actually started in London, then we were in China, now we're in Lithuania. So we're also an international team. My co-founder is from Spain, although he's been living in Lithuania for a number of years. So in some ways, we have the benefit of being in this ecosystem, which I think has very strong engineering talent, especially in hardware, because we're also making instrumentation. But also, at the same time, we're not restricted. Being in the EU, we can hire people from the EU and internationally. So we're kind of juggling both of these. We have, one contractor, for instance, in Denmark now. So it's kind of a mix of both.
So DeepTech obviously is something that is really crucial to this world. Why is it so vital right now?
So I think we can all feel this. We are really approaching a very bad point with our planet. The CO2 emissions, the general climate change is really being felt now. And I think DeepTech is probably the number one promise here to get us out of it. And that takes actually kind of number of facets here. It can, be it lab-grown food to replace all the contamination we get from cattle, be it kind of cleaner transport, electric vehicles, and then overall greener renewable energy. And then robotics as well, right? So just so many things DeepTech can do, and I think now is really the time to kind of invest and to build DeepTech. To that end, actually, what we are trying to do, we are trying to be a layer which enables these. So if you think about lab-based food, that requires chemical analysis to control that process. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to kind of create an intuitive device to control chemical analysis.
You mentioned earlier that your journey was, it started in London, you were somewhere else, but now you've settled in Lithuania. So what makes this country so unique and special for your startup?
Lithuania is great for engineering talent. I think that there's a very strong base of people with skills, be it in hardware, be it software, and actually all the kind of different angles of it. Where we also really benefit from is the research capacity here. So we are constantly working with the research institute here, which have the labs, they have the capabilities and experience, And that extends across many areas, be it ours, which is chemical analytics, or lasers, or kind of spectrometry, and like it's just so many different things. So these are some of the strengths we have here, and which they are very accessible. So the startup ecosystem, the DeepTech ecosystem really benefits from it. And also the other things are, I would say, the quality of life. So having lived in other places, this is I think by far the best. Most of the things are walking distance. It's kind of easy to maintain a closer community in this way as well. So yeah, I think Lithuania is great. It's great. I would also just add to that. I think what we have here in Lithuania is that kind of the ambition and the internationality in the approach to business. I think, I don't know, be it because we're a very small nation, we are always building things with the view of the international market, which might not be the case in some other places.
So obviously, doing great things here in Lithuania as one of those potential powerhouses. But obviously we need in DeepTech a lot of interoperability, right? About working together with different infrastructures and ecosystems. So let's look at the wider region, the entirety of the 3 Cs and the CEE region. Where do you see the potential there for DeepTech?
I think you're right. And this region really, is I think the part of Europe which has the most capacity and ambition to build new things. I would say that we need, though, to invest more into the connection between these countries. Poland is next door to Lithuania, and I think I wish there was more business collaboration, at least in the kind of the startup environment I see. And that applies across the countries, right? I mean, what's stopping us from going to, let's say, Estonia or Latvia to kind of tap into some of the engineering talent and the research there, or kind of going more south to other places. So I think we need to collaborate more, and I think as a body of countries, we really could drive it forward together, because I think the approaches are very similar. People are very ambitious, and people I've met, they are building for the world. No one's thinking, that, okay, I'm just going to build it for my own country and that's it. So I think there's a lot of kind of mentality which is similar in building new things and solving problems. We're all in the same boat with the problems, so let's work together on it.
So obviously in the last few years it's been really tough. We had the pandemic, now we have the war in Ukraine. How's all this impacted your startup and the mentality here of doing business?
For sure this has had an impact, right? I think we were all shocked initially, and we still remain shocked, I think now. But from the business perspective, when you think about it, not much has changed. We're all still here, the ecosystem is still moving. If anything, we actually have an additional driver to build things for our own security, for the future of this country and kind of the future of Europe, really. So I think now more than ever, we're driving for the products we build, and we're driving for change here. So overall, I wouldn't say much has changed.
Let's focus in on Lithuania and the startup culture here, the mindset. What makes it unique in your mind?
I would say it's the international ambition, which, well, having worked in London before, clearly London is the main ecosystem in Europe. But people who start in London, they think about London. They don't even think about Manchester, right? Whereas here, I think everyone who starts here in Vilnius or in Kaunas or other places, their first step is actually to think about Europe or to think about the States or the world overall. So that in itself actually yields very well to build large businesses. And now I think it's just a matter of time and capital to get us there.
I mean, we're looking at this whole digitization of smell, as you said, this chemical database. And that I can see the logic in food and all these kind of applications. But is there also perhaps a military application to all this?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're doing, we're taking instruments and we're applying artificial intelligence on them to get better results faster and kind of more in time. And that really works well for military applications and security applications. Because when you're out there on the field, you want the results now. And sometimes you need the latest database, you need the latest updates to be there now. And that's exactly where our innovation and our tech can really benefit and work for. So yeah, I think that's another great application for our technology.